Slightly last week to 209,000, but continuing claims those remaining on benefits dropped to 1.77 million.
That's Fox's Ginny Casola. Oil prices.
The Yaffee Program on WVNN.
All right, yes, don't worry, everyone. We will be talking about clock cameras again today. Don't you worry. I know we're all very passionate about that issue that I just found out about 2 weeks ago. But in a serious note, State Representative Ernie Yarbrough is going to join me later on in the show. He put an op-ed out at 1819 News, and he's been talking a lot about this, that he's super against clock cameras. So I was like, you know what, I'll bring him on, and maybe he'll convince me to be against them. I've told you my position. It's basically a middle ground. It's kind of similar to what Mo Brooks said on Dale's show, where you're like, okay, yes, we're a little concerned about the surveillance state, so maybe we need to add some extra checks. But just wanting them all torn down, it seems a little extreme too, but we'll talk about that. Like I said, maybe he'll change my mind. You are listening to the Yaffee Program. This is the show where you can count on the latest news, the important guests, and the best analysis, all for your morning commute. Here on News Talk 770 AM, 92.5 FM, WVNN. Coming up in a moment, you know when I told you that Mom Donnie, when he says he is a socialist, believe him? Take it seriously? Another example of that. We'll get into that in a moment. We have the Alabama bullet points, the top stories from around the state. As I mentioned, Ernie Yarbrough will join me at the bottom of the hour. Later on in the show, we have something that made Yaffee laughy. Marco Rubio, who's Secretary of State and has 5 other jobs, apparently he's really funny. He did an interview, and there were a lot of cuts that were pretty funny. So I'll play that. In the next hour, we got to talk about ICE enforcement again. The media is trying to make another situation to make ICE look really bad, and it's just Trump's hit squad and all this stuff. I'll give you the actual details and be an actual voice of reason on this. So we'll do that in the next hour. We also have to talk about the latest in Iran. I always end the show with the Yaffee Program Rewind, and you can always weigh in on the Yaffee text line. You can see the theme that I just brand everything Yaffee with my name on it. I even have a shirt that just says Yaffee. Dale actually made it, but that's all it says. It's just the Yaffee shirt. So this is what I do. But you can weigh in on the Yaffee text line, 866-494-9866. And Bugsy is here producing. She's going to do What's Trending in the second hour of the show. Bugsy, how are you this morning?
I'm being terrorized, Yaffee.
It's the moth still
I don't know if it's a
you?
moth, actually. It's kind of like buzzy. It's especially buzzy for a moth. It's kind of scary.
Maybe it's one of those big flies.
No, it's small, like a horsefly. No, I hate horseflies. It is not a horsefly. If it was a horsefly, I would have already killed it. I feel bad if I don't want to kill it if it's a moth, and I can't tell if it's not. Like, it kind of looks like a moth.
I know, it's fun. I predicted you would keep it as a pet. But you said, no, it's making you too upset. But you won't kill it.
Because it's too buzzy, yeah. So first I heard it in my ear. I didn't know if it was real, and I was like, am I imagining a bug sound? Because I didn't see anything, and then I saw it on the screen of the computer, and I was surprised it was real. And now it's torturing me and landing on the board, and I can't grab it.
This is a weird version of The Raven by
Quoth the bug.
Yeah, that is a weird version of that. All right. By the way, do you have the audio ready? Oh, I can't.
Don't ask me that, Yaffee.
You get so mad if I even second guess that you're ready to go. Okay, that's true. All right, let me talk about this real quick. The Wall Street Journal had a good editorial on this. It says, Mom Donnie wants to deliver Amazon to the Teamsters. And they've hit the nail on the head. So apparently, Zoran Mamdani, his next target when it comes to New York City to try to drive more business out of New York City. His goal is to say, oh, there's a business here? Get out. I don't want businesses here. We want everything run by the government. We don't, whatever's going to help a business. No. No, we can't have that. We can't have profits. But anyway, now he's going after Amazon. Now, New York's already gone after Amazon in the past. You had AOC, in her district. They wanted to build a big Amazon fulfillment center, I think. Some kind of big center in New York, and she killed the deal. So they went somewhere else. That would have helped a lot of people in that area. It would have created jobs, but nope. But now, Mamdani is saying that subcontracted delivery drivers in certain part of New York, this should be banned. Now, I'm going to go ahead and play the video here, and we have to comment on it. Just so you know, you can't see it on the radio. But all of these people are wearing, like, Amazon vests. So that means, they are themselves subcontractors for Amazon, and now they're going on camera complaining about their jobs. I kid you not. Go ahead and play the Amazon Cup for me, Bugsy.
Special delivery. If it looks like an Amazon delivery,
and it drives like an Amazon delivery,
then it's an Amazon delivery.
Amazon is spending millions of dollars to convince you that this isn't an Amazon delivery. But all you have to do is see for yourself.
My uniform says Amazon.
If I don't wear this Amazon branded vest, disciplinary action will be taken against us. The workers' routes and hours are set by Amazon.
so why isn't Amazon responsible for these vans?
Because Amazon and other corporations have built a vast network of subcontractors
that shield them from responsibility. Amazon tells these subcontractors where to drive,
Who to hire and what hours to work.
I do all the work that makes Amazon all the money.
This is why I'm proud to support the Delivery Protection Act, sponsored by Councilmember Tiffany Kalan. Because if Amazon is delivering your packages, they should follow the same rules of every other delivery.
when injuries and worker accidents skyrocket.
Amazon says they have nothing to do with it.
They can't have it both ways.
By shielding themselves behind these so-called independent operators, this trillion-dollar company is able to avoid regulations on our city streets. And that's why we want to pass the Delivery Protection Act.
Now, just so you all know, there are many big businesses out there that use subcontractors for their business. Now, this is kind of similar to what they did to like Uber. They wanted to do that where, oh, well, it hurts the taxi driver jobs, so we're going to pass all these laws. Now, what's going to be the result? All those people that now have a job through subcontracting with Amazon as delivery drivers, all those people in this video, they're just going to lose their job. I mean, I guess they'll be fine because they'll go to a government grocery store after that, so it'll be great. But it's crazy to me to see people have a job and they're like, no, I shouldn't have this job. You think after this, Amazon's just going to make you a full-time employee with benefits or something? As I've said many times before, I stole it from Rush Limbaugh, but I like to say I live in Realville. You can have these idealistic notions of certain things, but when you actually, there are real results that are not necessarily good. Now, what this is about is unions, just so you all know. The Democratic Socialists want to re-empower big unions in this country. That is one of their goals. It's all about giving the unions more power. And hurting profits. They don't care about profits. But according to the Wall Street Journal, it says sooner or later in today's America, if you are successful in business, you will be targeted as guilty of some alleged political sin. It doesn't matter how many jobs you create or what services you provide, ask Amazon. It says on Monday, New York City Mayor Zohran Mamdani endorsed the Teamsters-backed Delivery Protection Act. So yes, the big union, of course, is backing this. Why? Because they want more union members. That's why. Introduced by Democrat Socialists of America Council member Tiffany Caban, the bill would force Amazon to reclassify subcontractors and workers in its delivery network as employees. It could also potentially hit those of other delivery companies such as FedEx. So it's not just going after Amazon. They used Amazon in the example. It says here the Teamsters and its left-wing allies are using New York City to test drive the ban on subcontracting, which they hope to take nationwide. So one reason I'm talking about this is because you've had a big union push in Alabama. Hasn't been successful. They were successful in Tennessee. But this is not just New York City. New York City is the start, but they want to take this stuff nationwide. Now, it says, Mr. Mamdani's office says Amazon and other use subcontractors to shield them from responsibility, which leaves workers vulnerable. But as the Wall Street Journal points out, that's a misdirection. Amazon's last-mile delivery network relies on some 40 subcontractors, which employ more than 5,000 workers. This sophisticated network is what can get the goods you order to your doorstop in hours. and it provides flexibility for workers who have irregular schedules, such as college students and home caretakers. By the way, I did something similar to this. When I was in Florida, to make a little extra money, I became a shipped delivery person. It's similar to Uber. I'm sure you've heard of it, but it's like Instacart. But you're basically a subcontractor, and you make your own schedule and all this stuff. And it was a side gig, but it was a good way to make a little extra money when I needed it. Now, it says Amazon requires its subcontractors to provide full-time employees health coverage and paid time off. Subcontractor drivers are on an average roughly $24 an hour. That's another thing. We're acting like they're just poor slaves or something. No, I mean, they're earning a wage. Many subcontractors offer additional benefits, including tuition assistance and paid vacation. These small businesses reflect the diversity that progressives claim they favor. Amazon says 25% are owned by Black or Hispanic entrepreneurs, 10% are veteran-owned, and 10% are graduates of our Road to Ownership program. That's a company initiative that helps high-performing employees become business owners. Subcontractors also provide workers compensation for workers injured on the job. Vans are equipped with technology that notifies subcontractors of unsafe driving behavior. The cargo e-bikes that couriers pedal around Manhattan cannot travel faster than 12 miles per hour, yada, yada, yada. So what is this really about? Is it really about safety? Is it really about making sure those subcontractor employees are getting what they need or whatever? Of course not. What this is about is getting more people to unionize. That's the end goal. That's why the Teamsters are supporting this. It's just all about the big unions, which eventually destroys a part of our economy. But workers of the world unite and all that stuff. Now, it says here, it's estimated that the Delivery Protection Act would increase household costs by $664 a year. Amazon warns that hefty compliance costs could force it to relocate its 10 distribution centers outside the reach of city politicians and regulators. Perhaps Long Island or New Jersey say goodbye to the same-day delivery. So there's always this assumption that if you pass a law like this, Amazon will still be profitable and you'll still get the same services that you got before from Amazon, that they'll offer the same products. That's not the case. What happened when the unions got too much power in our automobile industry is the cars got worse and more expensive and couldn't keep up with competition, and it destroyed their business. If we give the unions more power again in other areas of the economy, that's exactly what's going to happen. It doesn't just stay the same. There's no guarantee that you get all these services and that the economy will grow in a certain way. There are things that can be done to kill a business or kill an economy in the long run, but they don't seem to care because they don't even like profits. And I guess you can go to a government-run grocery store anyway. So just kind of the latest example of that. Not too surprising, but this will be a push beyond New York City. We'll see it in other places. If you want to weigh in, you can. We have our Yaffee text line, 866-494-9866. 866-494-WVNN. Coming up next, we'll have the Alabama Bullet Points. At the bottom of the hour, Ernie Yarbrough, state representative, will join us. This is the Yaffee program.
You're listening to Yaffee on WVNN.
We're back here on the Yaffee program, News Talk 770 AM, 92.5 FM, WVNN. One person said this. Jeremy weighed in on the Yaffee text line, said, when Amazon doesn't have enough drivers come Christmas time and your package is too late and you didn't ask Santa for it, don't complain. But another person said this. Amazon subcontractors drive like lunatics in my rural community in their personal vehicles with no markings. This helps shield Amazon from accountability for the actions of the people getting the packages to doorsteps. Subs should have to have Amazon signs on their vehicles. Rant over. So there you go. A couple of different reactions to that. This doesn't force vehicle signs, though. I don't think that's the point of this bill in New York. All right, let's get to move on to some Alabama news and politics right now. We have the Alabama Bullet Points.
Alabama Bullet Points. Today's headlines from around the Yellowhammer State.
Sponsored by Larry's Pistol and Pawn. Number 4 today, an ex-employee with the Southern Poverty Law Center, one of their officials, was arrested as a new indictment adds fraud and false statement charges. So So a former SPLC official, Heidi Berrick, was arrested after a federal grand jury's second superseding indictment charged her alongside the organization with conspiracy to commit wire fraud, conspiracy to submit false statements to a federally insured bank, and conspiracy to commit concealment money laundering. Now, prosecutors allege that between 2007 and 2023, more than $4 million in donor funds were secretly funneled through fictitious entities to individuals linked to violent extremist groups, including roughly $1.2 million paid to an informant who infiltrated a neo-Nazi group who was allegedly romantically involved with the SPLC official. So this case continues on. Number 3 today, State Representative Rhett Marcus, who just became the Republican nominee in his District 2 race this week in the special primary, thanked Katie Britt for the win, in part, said this all started with her. So Rhett Marcus credited U.S. Senator Katie Britt as a key force behind his victory in the Republican primary for Alabama's newly drawn 2nd Congressional District, where he secured the nomination with 50% of the vote in a 6-candidate field. Addressing supporters after the win, Marcus first thanked President Donald Trump for a late endorsement boost, then highlighted Britt's early and ongoing support, including a $10,000 contribution from her super PAC and joint campaigning. He said that without her, he would not be standing right here as the nominee. He also urged supporters of his primary opponents to unite behind him to keep the district Republican as he prepares to face Democrat U.S. Representative Shamari Figures in the general. Number 2 today, speaking of the special primary election, apparently it saw a decade-low turnout, which is causing some more concern about the general election for Republicans. So Alabama's special primary election on Tuesday held to allow voters in the 1st, 2nd, 6th, and 7th congressional districts to choose candidates under a previously court-blocked map. It produced the expected Republican winners, but saw decade-low turnout of just 5.24%. Despite months of urging from GOP leaders worried about losing ground in November in the midterms, participation fell to levels not seen since 2014, that primary runoff. That's the lowest rates occurred in the Black Belt, continues such as Sumter, Macon. There were higher figures appeared in Coffee County and similar counties. Now, Alabama Republican Party Chairman Scott Stadhagen still praised the outcome as setting the stage for a Republican sweep in the general election. So we'll see if he's right. And number 1 today, State Auditor Andrew Sorrell predicts party registration passing in the 2027 legislative session. So Alabama State Auditor, former State Representative Andrew Sorrell, predicted on a recent radio show interview that legislation requiring party registration to close Alabama's primaries, which would end crossover voting, will pass in the next legislative session. Now, he claimed a faction of lawmakers deliberately stalled a similar bill in the prior session after it advanced quickly in the House. And he noted that he successfully authored and passed a unanimous amendment to the Alabama Republican Party platform supporting such a ban. It's the first platform change in 9 years, which now gives the party chairman stronger leverage to press legislators. Now, he drew parallels to his earlier successful forecasts on school choice and constitutional carry. Sorrell expressed confidence that closed primaries will become law in 2027. So that's true. He was right in predicting prior bills like that, about how long it would take before they actually can get it through the legislature. So hopefully he's right on this, because I tend to agree with them. The idea of Democrats voting in Republican primaries has never been a big fan of that, I have to say. This segment of the program brought to you by Larry's Pistol and Pawn. I have to say, best place in town to shop for jewelry. That's right. I've had 2 or 3 coworkers get jewelry there. My mom got a ring there. My mother-in-law got earrings there. I bought my wife diamond earrings there. I know I had one coworker get rings there for a wedding. There's a reason why they all went there, and they all rave about the experience they had, because the prices are good, the customer service is even better, and the selection is amazing. And you can even put jewelry on layaway if you want to pay it off over time. And if you go to some of these fancy schmancy jewelry stores in town, where you think, oh, you're getting a great deal. They're not going to let you put it on layaway. You're going to end up paying too much, and you're actually not going to get the selection that you get at Larry's Pistol and Pawn. So go to Larry's Pistol and Pawn today in Madison. It's off Greenbrier Exit 3. If you've seen the big rusty water tower over there, it's right next door. It's an 18,000 square foot facility. You can also buy all kinds of other things there as well, or sell or pawn anything of value. And yes, Larry's Firearm Collection Museum is in the back of the store. Go to Larry's Pistol and Pawn today or pistolandpawn.com. And when you do, let them know you heard about it from Yaffee. State Representative Ernie Yarbrough joins me next here on the Yaffee program.
Yaffee program.
Hey, soccer fans! U.S. Soccer's gold medal winning women's national team faces World Cup champion Spain in an epic showdown at Audi Field in D.C. on October 10th. Don't miss this incredible match. Snag your tickets at ussoccer.com/tickets.
Start your day with the morning jolt of Drake C. Told.
See, now it's on demand. My podcast is kind of a radio thing, I think, but also it's a bit of a TV show, and it's about whatever I want it to be. It's listening live as it happened, when it happened, with the instant reaction.
Your home for talking sports.
We go back. The Drake Toll Show, Westwood One Sports Network. And there it will be, on demand, on your radio. Anywhere in the country, I'll see you there.
Westwood One Sports Talk, your home for Drake C. Toll. Follow and listen on your favorite platform.
We're back on the Yaffee program. News Talk 770 AM, 92.5 FM, WBNN. I am Alabama's voice of reason in a world that is sometimes beyond reason. If you ever miss any of the show live or the podcast, pretty much anywhere podcasts, wherever you get them, you'll find the Yaffee program there somewhere. You have to spell my name right, Yaffee, but you can find it. So joining me on the show right now is State Representative Ernie Yarbrough. He is the state rep out of Trinity, Alabama. Ernie, thank you so much for coming on. I appreciate it.
And yeah, thank you for having me. It's an honor to be here, sir.
So I wanted to talk to you about your recent piece that you wrote at 1819 News. It says, flock cameras are not the tree of liberty. Now, I have to admit, I didn't even know about this issue until 2 weeks ago. Someone said flock cameras, and I'm like, is it keep up with birds? What are we talking about? But it's become a big issue now. And I guess I'm really bringing you on to try to convince me that this really is something we need to be worried about. Are you for just banning them outright, or maybe just wanting more checks and balances? What do you think about it?
Well, I think that before we address that question, there's a bigger issue at play, and that is we as Americans and as Alabamians have got to return to thinking in terms of principle. And in terms of, we have to begin to solve problems. We're so often, it seems like in the political sphere, it's a knee-jerk reaction to things. And because we live in an instant, hot pocket microwave culture, but we've got to, in order to solve the problems I think that we face, you think about COVID and all the things, the back and forth, safety this, safety that, the things that up and down that happen, because we've got to reacclimate ourselves to making 40-year decisions instead of 4-year or 4-week or next week decisions. And I think the only way that we can really do that is we have to be willing to think in terms of principles like our founding fathers and like not only our federal but our state constitution. And our federal constitution makes it very clear in the Fourth Amendment that we are protected from warrantless searches and seizures. And Alabama Constitution, Article 1, Section 35, makes it very clear that the sole object and the only legitimate end of government is to protect the citizen in the enjoyment of life, liberty, and property. And when government becomes abusive of these things, it is usurpation and oppression. And so we've got to return to thinking in terms of these calibers. And so when it comes to safety, I think the first thing we need to do as Alabamians is ask ourselves, given the fact of our history as Americans, America 250 we just celebrated, who is the person most fundamentally responsible for my safety? And what is it when you see on the side of police cars it says to serve and protect? Well, what are they first and foremost serving and fundamentally serving and protecting? Well, if me, Ernie, and for you, Yaffee, if you are the person, if I'm the person most fundamentally responsible for my safety, right, then that means that the government, in any way that it helps that, is to be supplemental and supportive to my rights and my responsibility as the person fundamentally responsible for my own safety, right? And ironically, you see that the Alabama Sheriff's Association has come out all for flock cameras, but they also came out opposed to constitutional carry. And at that time, the head of the ASA made the comment that he believed that that the Second Amendment was problematic and that it needed modified. So, we have to first and foremost deal with the fact that safety and freedom are not, one isn't currency to buy the other, right? And so I think that's the first thing we have to settle in our brain is how do we answer the questions that we're faced with and the problems or challenges that we have to deal with? It has to be from a principled, conservative, constitutional lens. Because, look, imagine if Joe Biden had flock cameras during COVID. It would have been an absolute freaking nightmare. Okay, so we have to be willing to make decisions based upon 40 years and not 4 years or 4 weeks. I support our police. I believe in back in the blue. No question that Antifa, BLM type stuff has created disastrous situations for law enforcement, and I'm for fixing all of that. But it should never be at the expense of the liberties and freedoms that are essential to me as an American citizen. And a flock camera system is not just a tag reader. It makes digital profiles of your car, and there's technology out there. There was a great interview with a whistleblower in the NSA. There's technology out there through the flock cameras. They can pick up digital signals from your car and from your phone. And all of that amounts to, when you string flock cameras together, all of that amounts to a mass surveillance system upon our people. And I made the point in the article, too. Could you imagine looking our forefathers in the face who charged the beaches of Normandy on D-Day and tell them that they did that so that we could have mass surveillance of American citizens, no warrants, no protections, no anything. And there was a recent article, a chief of police made the comment, well, if you're against these flock camera systems, probably because you're doing something you shouldn't be doing. Well, I find that to be absurd because that's like saying, well, you know why Ernie has walls on his house? Probably cooking meth. No, it's because we as American citizens value our privacy. We have a right to that. And look, if the data is collected by private companies or private businesses to protect their area or private citizens on their property, no problem there. But that only should be accessed by a warrant. But if the government is the one collecting and mass surveilling their people, then what's even the point of having a warrant? It makes no sense. So I am adamantly opposed to the mass surveillance and the tracking of our people. And it's always the cry for safety. But the truth is that we've got people on. I was just the other day listening to a Daily Detail podcast. Guys on death row since '98. Another guy, was arrested for sexually abusing a child in close to my home in another county, and 5 years later, he's finally getting sentenced. So until we have swift justice, why is it that crime was so low when my dad was a child, and even when I was a kid, they took guns to school in the back of their trucks. And they shot after school with the principal or school leadership at gun clubs, shooting clay pigeons and stuff. Nobody ever dreamed of having school violence like it is now. And the answer is simply because the answer is that was an age of far less technology. The solution is not to surrender our freedoms to technology. It's to go back to root fundamental cause issues and deal with it in that way. So, I think every American citizen and every Alabamian to be seriously concerned and fundamentally opposed to the idea of a mass surveillance system by our government on U.S. citizens. If that doesn't sound like China, I don't know what does.
So there's a lot to cover there, and I'm speaking with State Representative Ernie Yarbrough. So just first and foremost, it sounds like you just are against these cameras. Like you want them to be taken down and removed and everything else, correct? Unless they're on private property.
I am against the government in any form. I'm against the mass surveillance of American citizens. Okay. I think that the right to privacy includes the right to freedom of movement without being tracked by the government. If I'm a law-abiding citizen, like I said, the same arguments were used about constitutional carry, right? Well, you can't imagine, you don't want anybody to have a gun, do you? Well, criminals get their guns in different ways. They don't go to Walmart and buy a gun with ID and paperwork or whatever, right? So, or Academy or wherever. So I think every American citizen should be fundamentally opposed to the government just violating the Fourth Amendment left, right, up, and down, and that we should be okay with that. So, yes, I'm against the mass surveillance and tracking of American citizens who are law-abiding citizens.
So would it make you feel better, because you brought up the Fourth Amendment, so would it make you feel any better than to have just more checks? So you have the cameras. It basically, like you said, it can make a profile of a car in different areas. Now, their argument is these cameras are put in very public places. So you talk about the right to privacy. You have a reasonable right to privacy in certain areas, but when you're in a public intersection on a public road in your car with a license plate, you don't have that same expectation of privacy, so to speak. What would your response be to that?
Well, I mean, why don't we all just wear GPS GoPro cameras everywhere we go when we're in public, right? Well, I mean, that would solve a lot of crime, right? Where's the logical stopping point to this? There's not one. And I would argue that the Fourth Amendment and the Constitution was written to limit the government, not the citizen, right? So if I'm going to err in either direction, I'm going to err on the liberties and freedoms of our citizens. And the irony is, do you have these SWAT camera systems being put up without taxpayers paying for it? No. So we're the ones that are paying for it, but yet we're expected to have no voice in this. I mean, that is about as un-American as you can get. So, again, the Constitution wasn't written to put restraints and restrictions and guardrails on the citizen. Okay? It was written to restrain and restrict the federal government. And, how else do you think these arguments ever get rolled out to where, how do you think nation states today have mass surveillance that were once free nations? It always starts with these kinds of arguments as opposed to simply saying, no, we're not going to, in public property, have mass surveillance. Because otherwise, again, if you make the argument that taxpayer or public road intersections or whatever are stringing these up one after the other to where you can create digital maps of tracking people, then what is even the point of the Fourth Amendment? Why do we have it?
Well, okay. I mean, that makes sense. Now, what if there was what if they needed a warrant to access the data, so to speak? So you would keep the data, but for someone to access the data. Go ahead.
That's right. No, so I think that and that gets in. I'm all for having a warrant, right, to access that data, right? So, but the thing is that, again, if the government is the one collecting the data, what's the purpose of having warrants? Right.
Well, the warrant would be for a person to access the data, the government to access the data after it's already collected, so to speak.
Sure. I mean, but if the government is the one collecting it, if you're asking me, do I trust the government? I mean, what was it? Was it Ronald Reagan that said the scariest words are, I'm from the government, and I'm here to help? So if we're expecting the government to collect the data and then to effectively patrol and police itself, doesn't history teach us time and time again that there are all kinds of corruption, even sadly, in American government? And so, if you had these things on private property or private businesses where they were using them to surveil their property, okay, we have phones. Sure, we got GPS on our phones, but we opt into that. So I think the idea that the government should be collecting this kind of information is super problematic because it creates, like, the idea of a warrant, right? You go onto somebody else's property to X, Y, and Z. You have to have a warrant to access, right? You're not holding access to that property. You have to have a warrant to go and search, go and access. But if you are the entity fundamentally holding the data, holding the information, then the whole concept of a warrant becomes you are providing tremendous temptation and opportunity for corruption. We're already seeing cases all over the country where people are are abusing and getting in trouble and legal issues and court issues because of abusing this. And so I think what we as Americans and Alabamians need to ask ourselves is, are their rights guaranteed to us as individual citizens of America and of Alabama that the government is simply off ropes and off limits? And if the data is out there, the concept of a warrant existed in the context of an idea that this is something that belongs to me, right? This is something that belongs to a citizen or to a private entity, a private thing, be it a business or whatever. And the government has to get guardrailed permission to access it, which assumes that they don't already have possession of it.
Gotcha.
You know, and if they already have,
gosh, we're out of time. We could talk about this for a long time.
Sure.
I really just want to get your take and see. So basically, what you're making is a slippery slope argument that once you give the government this much technology now, it could be abused in the future, say in another pandemic and stuff like that. It could be abused.
Yeah,
and the only way to have guardrails is just to not to have the system.
The only way to have guardrails is to enforce the amendments of our Constitution and say that you can't do warrantless searches, which means that there have to be private ownership rights, not only of our possessions and our property, but of our persons and our movement as well.
Gotcha. Ernie Yarbrough, had a lot to say there. Really appreciate you coming on. It seems like a lot of asking people in the audience different opinions on this. It's been really a fiery topic, and I know we'll talk about it in the future. Oh, I did want to ask, do you think you're going to try to pass legislation on this next session?
That's certainly going to be a conversation, and we'll see what unfolds between now and session. But we are going to look at every available option and avenue before us to protect the rights of American citizens in Alabama. So we'll see how things unfold and what plays out in the environment of how this controversy, continues to unfold between now and next session. But there's no option off the table legally available if it's required to protect the rights and citizens of our citizens. So we will certainly take Article 1, Section 35 of our state constitution seriously because we swore to uphold it.
Gotcha. Ernie Yarbrough, really appreciate you coming on the show. I know we'll talk to you in the future.
Thank you so much. Appreciate you.
All right, there you go. If you want to react to that, and I know many people are already, you can on the Yaffee text line, and we'll be back in a moment on the Yaffee program.
It's the Yaffee program on WVNN.
All right, we're back here on the Yaffee program, News Talk 770 AM, 92.5 FM, WVNN. It was a good segment I had with Ernie Yarbrough, state representative, obviously very passionate about it. His general take, there's a couple of different takes that he has. One, it's a slippery slope argument to him, where if you have the technology in place, there's the potential that government could abuse it in the future. So better not even to just start going down that road. Now, I'm not against slippery slope arguments all the time, but I do think, if you're talking about abuse by the police, they have tools now that could technically be abused. And the best way to go against potential abuse is you have checks. You have severe penalties when it is abused. So we talked about how the way to deal with crime is to have strict penalties. And that's true. But it's also kind of true the same way. You could have strict penalties. Because you can make an argument that a police officer can abuse holding a gun, right? They all have guns and tasers. They can abuse that, correct? Does that mean we shouldn't give them guns and tasers? Now, the other thing is, to him, you still should have kind of a right to privacy in your vehicle, even if you're on a public road. That the idea of the Fourth Amendment is that they can't just keep track of you and have a surveillance state. The idea is that, no, you ultimately have that right, and they need a warrant to be able to track you, is kind of his thing. Now, someone texted in and said, yeah, but these are public areas. And he pointed out the word public generally refers to the people of a community as a whole, or something open, shared, and available for everyone, rather than hidden or private. It can mean government-owned services, a shared social space, or a specific group of people interested in something. So that's kind of been my thing. When you're driving your car, I guess you would have some kind of reasonable expectation of privacy in your car and what you're saying or whatever. But do you have an expectation of privacy in terms of the car itself on a public road. And it's hard for me to say that you do because that's why you have a license plate. The whole purpose of having your car registered and the whole purpose of having a license plate is so police can track you if they need to. They can look at the license plate and look it up and use that. But there are some libertarians who are against driver's licenses and license plates and car registrations. There are some that go to that extreme. So when you talk about a slippery slope, you could say it goes in the other way, where if we're going to get rid of fog cameras, why don't we just get rid of license plates and driver's licenses in any type of way to be tracked while you're driving on the road? So that's another argument. I tend to think that the best solution here is to have a system of checks to prevent abuse. But to say that because it tracks vehicles and license plates, that's somehow mass surveillance, I just, I don't know. I don't go that far. And the fact is, too, that people's lives have been saved. They have caught dangerous criminals. They have found missing children. Other situations where they used cameras like this, and it really helped. So it's hard for me to want to completely get rid of a tool that can be very effective because, well, you have an expectation of privacy while you're driving on a very public road. That's why I'm not sure I go as far as he does. I don't know if he actually convinced me there. But maybe he convinced you, so you can tell me. Speaking of this, kind of a different subject, but we have another incident where the media is trying to promote it as ICE agents gone rogue. So we'll talk about that next here on the Yaffee program.
You're listening to Yaffee on WVNN.
Hey, soccer fans! U.S. Soccer's gold medal winning women's national team faces World Cup champion Spain in an epic showdown at Audi Field in D.C. on October 10th. Don't miss this incredible match. Snag your tickets at ussoccer.com/tickets.
The U.S. Soccer Podcast. I'm your host, Megan Klingenberg, and after interviewing so many dudes during this Men's World Cup, I'm so happy to be back with my U.S. Women's National Team players.
I know the U.S. Men's National Team has changed how I think about myself, how I think about being an American, how I think about being on a team.
It's 1 year out from that World Cup, and we're going to talk about the brightest prospects in U.S. soccer. You ready?
I'm ready. Let's do it.
The U.S. Soccer Podcast, presented by Henco. Follow and listen on your favorite platform.
The Yaffee program on WVNN.
Shock gloves, huh? That's what we're going to give ICE agents? Shock gloves? I'm curious. I actually kind of want to see how they work. In a way, it sounds like maybe that's something cops could have too, but I don't know. I need to look more into that. But, I was thinking about this. There are a couple of stories. That's one of them. But a couple of stories now where the propaganda press and Democrats are once again trying to make ICE agents look bad. But as I'm thinking about this, I got to get to the root of all of this. And the root really is you have one side that believes if you're an illegal immigrant, you're technically a criminal. And you have another side that believes if you're an illegal immigrant, you're not a criminal. And when you have that mindset, it totally skews how you're going to look at everything else dealing with immigration. So we'll talk about that in a moment. You are listening to the Yaffee program. This is the show where you can count on the latest news, the important guests, and the best analysis, all for your morning commute. Here on News Talk 770 AM, 92.5 FM WVNN. Yes, and you probably heard it at the Fox News update at the top of the hour, but they're talking about ICE agents potentially starting to use what are called shock gloves. So it's like a taser, I guess, but it's on your glove. So self-explanatory there. But Tom Homan, who is Trump's border czar, did talk about this a little bit on Fox this week. Go ahead if you can. Bugsy, play a Tom Homan cut one.
Go from 0 to 100, right? And first thing you go for is lethal force. So, we have OC spray. We have tasers. So the glove is, the latest thing they're looking at to help in situations. You've seen the videos in the past year and a half, the fights on the street where officers are overwhelmed. This would be a tool they can use to make someone compliant. Now, there's a lot of training involved. There's still some, background, issues that need to be dealt with. So the implementation of these gloves out in the field are going to be a while. I think they serve a better purpose in detention facility, that where detainees get out of control and there's fights in the facility. So we'll see. The training protocol is being written and being reviewed. Then we'll see when they get rolled out. But it's just another tool in the tool belt of ICE officers who are under a 9,000% increase in death threats. An actual 1,400% increase in actual threats. So it's just another tool to help, those who don't want to be compliant, those who attack law enforcement officers, to bring them into compliance without using deadly force.
Yeah. And there's something he said there that's really important. It needs to be said again and again and again. ICE officers are law enforcement. There's always an example of some Democrat complaining about what ICE is doing, and it's like, but they are law enforcement. Whether you like it or not, they are part of federal law enforcement. That means they can use tools that are used by law enforcement. Would you rather them use lethal force? Like you said, they can use a taser. They can use pepper spray. They can use lethal force. And this is another tool. Now, that being said, who knows if this is actually going to be implemented? It seems like there is kind of a backlash to a lot of this, so we'll have to see. I'm trying to think, Bugsy, what would you rather be used on you? Would you rather be tased, or they use a shock glove or pepper sprayed?
I think
is there one you would prefer?
Shock glove would be cooler, I think.
Okay. Like maybe it's like out of a superhero movie or something?
Yeah, I feel like it might be a little difficult because you can't, you have to chase them, I guess, with that though.
Yeah, that's true. It is. There are some questions I have.
And what if you accidentally scratch yourself with it? Is it always on? How do they turn it on?
You know what's really funny about that? You can buy tasers on your own, and I thought about doing that before, but I just know I'll accidentally tase myself one day.
I'd be too curious.
I just don't. I don't trust myself with a taser because I just know it's going to be in its case, and I'm going to sit down, and for some reason it just hits something.
Get a cattle prod. Get a really long one.
I just know that's going to happen. But anyway, okay, so she says shock glove. You could tell me on the Yaffee text line, would you rather be tased with an actual taser, or would you rather have a shock glove or pepper spray? But some of this actually came up recently, because there's this video that's going viral, and I'll play it here in a sec. It was from Virginia, and it was a girl named Carolina Molina. She posted across her, I'm going to read this from the Washington Post. She posted across her social media account, shows a masked U.S. Immigration, Customs, and Enforcement agent pointing a gun at the camera. He said, "Yeah, you record us. You almost ran us over." So she's recording them. They stop her. She's in a parking lot. He's obviously upset. So obviously she had some kind of encounter with them before this video was recorded and played. There's a reason why he's doing this. But it looks bad because he's pointing a gun at her and it's going into the camera. And so when you look at the video, everyone's like, now I have to remind you, he is law enforcement. Now, I'm not saying this agent acted 100% correct, but it's hard to take Carolina seriously here, and I'll tell you why in a moment. But if you can, Bugsy, play the ice cut that I sent you.
You recorded us. You almost ran us over.
I didn't almost
You
run
almost ran us over.
You're
Stop
so
playing.
full of shit.
Stop playing.
You are full of shit.
Right? You're not funny.
You're not funny.
I will arrest you. Keep it up.
I'm a legal citizen.
Keep it up. I don't care.
Oh my goodness.
We have to call back you up.
Okay. For what?
The one that tried to run us over.
Run you over when? I got recording. I got dash cam. That's a lie. Y'all full of shit. You're full of shit. I got a dash cam. I never tried to run you over.
All right. So they're obviously claiming that she tried to run them over. And he's pretty upset. Obviously, they were doing their operations. They've been pretty freaked out because the threats against them are very high. We've seen other incidents. Now, you might say, oh, this doesn't look good. He maybe overreacted, and maybe he did. But then you listen to what Carolina said. So she had a press conference. Apparently, she is kind of a political activist to begin with. She has spoken out against ICE to begin with. She's a mental health expert working with immigration lawyers or something as well. So she is an activist. And then you hear her talk, and it's like, okay, she doesn't have any credibility. So go ahead and play the Carolina Cup for me.
They would have shot me and gotten away with it. This was a whole Renee Good situation again.
So she goes out there then and says, oh, this was a whole Renee Good situation. They were going to shoot me and get away with it if I didn't have a camera. You see what I mean here? Now it's like, okay, you're just a political activist, aren't you? So now I can't really take anything you say seriously. Now, apparently she did admit to like cursing at them or something. She drove nearby and followed them and cursed at them. What you're doing is wrong and stuff is what she said. But she did not admit to trying to run them over or something. But you hear her talk, and I'm like, okay, maybe she did. I have no idea. Obviously, she doesn't take guys seriously. She's against what they're doing. She wants to support illegal immigrants. And she's comparing it to Renee Good, even though it's not even similar to that situation. And no, the guy had no intention. The ICE agents literally like, yes, please record us. You try to run us over. You can record us all you want. So that was just kind of the point I made. I'm like, okay, I don't, maybe this ICE officer didn't act correct, but now you have no credibility. I don't believe you either. But what does this go to? Well, it goes back to what I said at the top. That when you hear Democrats, they don't believe that ICE should be legitimate law enforcement, and they don't think that illegal immigrants should be treated as criminals. In fact, go ahead if you can, Bugsy, play the Hakeem Jeffries cut for me. This is what he said about it recently.
Strength, we expect that number will, when we are at full strength, we expect that number will grow in the aftermath of the midterm elections that are going to take place on November 3rd. And of course, we'll have a conversation about what dramatic change looks like in terms of the immigration enforcement that's taking place in this country. And as I've mentioned repeatedly, because this is what unites the entirety of the House Democratic Caucus family, from progressive to New Dems to Blue Dogs and all points in between, because it unites the country, is that immigration enforcement should be fair, just, and humane in this country. We do want a safe and secure and strong border. That's also, of course, incredibly important to the American people. And we have a broken immigration system, and it needs to be fixed. And it should be fixed in a comprehensive and bipartisan way.
All right, so he says fair, just, and humane. It implies that right now it's not fair, just, and humane. I will admit it's interesting to hear them say they really do want a secure border. I have made the point in the past that merely having a fence at the border is not enough. Look at what happened in Spain. They had big fences. They had a secure border. But it didn't matter. They were overwhelmed because they had a problem of enforcement inside the country. One of the reasons why the border itself is secure is you have to have strong enforcement inside the country. But to them, if you're merely arresting an illegal immigrant, detaining and deporting them, they say that's not humane. So de facto, they basically are going to want them to just be allowed to stay for the most part. It's a completely different attitude. And that's where a lot of this comes from. When you are painting a picture out there, a perception that ICE is not legitimate law enforcement, and anytime you actually actively arrest and detain illegal immigrants, that's somehow not humane, then you get these disagreements. And as soon as Democrats get in control, and if they get a Democratic president, the border will not be secure. It will be wide open again because illegal immigrants will have gotten the message. They can come in now and there won't be any enforcement. As long as they get through the border, there's not going to be any real enforcement, which creates more of a problem even at the border itself, which we saw before. Now, Tom Homan said, though, he's not backing down. Go on and play Tom Homan cut 2 for me.
Advice. Sick to your stomach that your government lets you down. the state government let you down. Look, they put a lot of roadblocks up. They try to make our job more difficult. But the bottom line is, of June of this year, ICE made more arrests than any time in the history of ICE. Historic month in June. What did we do the next month in July? We blew June out of the water. We got another historic record. We're going to keep doing our job. You can make it more difficult. You can impede. You can interfere. But you're not going to stop President Trump from keeping his promise to American people. Most secure border in history. There hasn't been a single illegal alien released into this country in 13 months, and that's going to continue. We have record numbers of arrests and deportations, making this country safer again. You're not going to stop us. I just don't understand why this is a partisan issue. Why doesn't law enforcement work with law enforcement to make the public and your community safer? That's your number one responsibility as governor and mayor and city council, to make your community safer. Work with ICE. You don't have to be an immigration officer. Right. When it comes to public safety threats that are in the country illegally, work with us.
It's a partisan issue because the Democrats don't believe that illegal immigrants should be treated as criminals. So when you have that, you're not going to have tough enforcement. If you want to weigh in, we have our Yaffee text line, 866-494-9866, 866-494-WVNN. Right now, I'm going to weigh in on my good friends at VIP Care, which is primary care with a heart for seniors. Their senior healthcare model and local clinics are designed for your comfort. With same-day appointments, more time with your doctor, and a team of Medicare experts, you get the care you need so you can enjoy life. So if you're 65 years or older, you have a family member who is, go to getthevipcare.com. They don't just treat illnesses and symptoms. They find out what's causing them. Their doctors listen, ask questions, and work with you to create a plan that fits your needs. 24/7 support as well. Many convenient locations. You get all of the treatments done in one place, one convenient place. GetVIPCare.com. GetVIPCare.com. Find a local clinic today. When you do, let them know you heard about it from Yaffee. We'll be back in a moment on the Yaffee program.
The Yaffee program.
Here's an interesting text. We were talking about ICE enforcement, immigration. It said, actually, Republicans don't care if aliens are entering the U.S. without inspection, are illegal either, or they would have passed the Save America Act. They're on the take from organizations that want illegal alien workers. Yeah, sure. Many Republicans are kind of guilty of that, too. That is a good point overall. All right, I want to move on. I want to lighten things up a little bit. I haven't done one of these in a while, so let's do it right now. Something that made Yaffee laughy. All right, I got to play these cuts of Secretary of State Marco Rubio. Did an interview recently, and it was, kind of a lighthearted interview, a lot of it. He's actually really funny. He should bring this part of himself out more. If he ends up running for president, this personable stuff, I think would help him a lot in a campaign. But go ahead, just a couple examples of some of the jokes he was telling during this interview. Go and play cut one of Rubio.
I did, at one time, maybe 4 or 5 years ago, I tried this thing called keto. You've heard of this?
Yeah, keto.
Okay? And you just eat all this protein. And so you go through this massive withdrawal from sugar and carbohydrates for the first 72 hours. It was a near psychotic event for me.
It's true.
If I did this in this job, I would be, Mr. President, we must bomb, Paraguay. And it's like, why? I don't know. I'm just really mad I haven't had any sugar. So the point is that you can't, it really is not I'm not against this diet. I'm not asking that we ban it. I encourage people to try it. I'm just saying it's not for everyone.
Apparently he was asked about the Maha stuff, Make America Healthy Again. And he's like, look, I'm all for it. I'm not good at it myself. And then went into that whole thing, which is true. I've been through a diet like that before. I totally get what he's saying there. Another example here, play Rubio cut 2.
You've been married for nearly 3 decades. Mm-hmm. What's the secret to a happy marriage?
You
answer that question. No, Jeanette smiled first.
No, there's no secret. I mean, there's no secret to it. It's
You have to have a friendship. I would start that. I would just say it starts with your faith. For me, and that's a very important thing, and I think for Marco too, right?
Yeah.
And then
compliance for the husband.
No, please.
He just says compliance from the husband. His wife is giving a very serious answer, and he's like, yeah, in compliance. The husband must listen to the wife. All right. Then he starts to talk about Pete Hegseth's cat. I kid you not. This is a conversation from our Secretary of State. Play Rubio Cut 3.
2 doors down, Pete lives in neighbors, so I see them sometimes. And
I hear your dogs go over to their house.
Oh my gosh, yes.
But not deliberate. So I have a dog.
We have 2 dogs.
And then we have one that's really smart. It's these are golden doodles, but this one's more poodle than doodle, so than golden.
Than
so
retriever.
very smart.
Yeah.
Knows how to open the door. So one day, I think Pete and his family were just sitting around watching television, and they keep their front door open because they have cats, which I never took Pete for a cat guy, but cats.
Oh my God.
And so, and anyway, and my dog just walked into their living room and looked around, realized I'm in the wrong house, and turned around and walked out. So.
But yes, so our dog does open the door, many doors.
Now the flip side of it is that one of Pete's cats, oftentimes I'll get home at night and the cat is just sitting on my porch and just looks at me like, what are you doing here? Like that kind of attitude.
Well, it's Gen cats. It's Gen. It's the kids. The kids wanted an animal, so they ended up having
But the cat is
cats.
a very
But there's a lot of cats.
Yeah, because
It's
I
an
mean,
arrogant
there's
cat.
a lot of kids.
To be honest with you, it's a very arrogant cat.
There's a lot of
because the
kids.
cat is on my porch acting like, what are you doing in my house? And it's like, your house is 2 doors down, man. But the cat just looks at you, doesn't even, usually a cat, you approach it, takes off. This
Yeah,
thing
he's
does
not
not
scared of
take off
anything.
running. He just sits there, the tail's going on like this, and he's just staring at you like, hey, what's up? And I'm like, this cat's amazing. I don't even know the name of this cat.
That's true, by the way. That's what my cat would do, probably. I just have to say. So I thought that was pretty funny. If you want to weigh in, you can. We have the Yaffee text line, 866-494-9866. Right now, I'm going to weigh in real quick. My good friends at the Huntsville Men's Clinic. They are celebrating their 5-year anniversary, and they are part of a team that's treated Alabama men for ED and low T for almost 15 years. So if you're having an issue, guys, talking to you get older, you lose your energy, your motivation, your drive, feels like you're living life in a fog. Well, go to the Huntsville Men's Clinic. They have treatments that work. In fact, 92% of men have seen results from these treatments. Huntsville Men's Clinic. Go to huntsvillemensclinic.com. Make an appointment today, $99 for that testosterone and PSA test. You get your numbers in about an hour, or give them a call, 256-368-0333. Huntsville Men's Clinic. Let them know Yaffee was the one who sent you. Got What's Trending coming up next on the Yaffee program.
It's the Yaffee program on WVNN.
Mic Drop, hosted by former Navy SEAL Mike Ridland.
How would you characterize your prowess?
I'd say my style is that I just kind of outwork everybody till I get there.
Because I'm not a quitter. It's just you, and that's yourself. Whereas everything else is team-oriented.
The motivation, it was a sort of anger at myself for being weak. That ends up being the driving factor. That anger, that pride, that ego, I think it's a muscle. It gets stronger. When you take that voice seriously, you start to change your life.
Mic Drop. Follow and listen on your favorite platform.
He's a super spreader of truth. Yaffee is on WVNN.
Welcome back to the Yaffee program here on News Talk 770 AM 92.5 FM WVNN. Doing my part to make radio great again. I can also make your social media great again. What you want to do is like the Yaffee Facebook page. Follow me on X at Yaffee or Instagram at Yaffee Live. Yes, it's spelled Yaffee. Bugsy is here as well. What's that spelled? Bugsy. You have an E or is it the Y?
It's just a Y, but on your show, I think it should be EE.
It should. You're right.
That way.
Bugsee. I like that. Anyway, let's get right to it. We have What's Trending with Bugsy.
Keeping you up to date with all that's trending in your world.
Oh, they have the internet on computers now.
You guys know how to post videos to Facebook?
It's What's Trending.
Sponsored by Coleman Furniture Market, located in the heart of Coleman, Alabama. If you need new bedroom furniture, they have it. New living room furniture, they have it. New dining room furniture, they have it. But they also have great prices. They got a big Labor Day sale going on right now. They're going to have the best selection than any furniture store you go to. I mean, the one negative, it's so big, so much to choose from, you get a little overwhelmed with the choices. If there's any negative, that would be the only one I could think of because it really is an amazing store. I want you to go to Coleman Furniture Market, and you can see some of what I'm talking about right now. Like their Facebook page or follow them on Instagram. You can see some of the new stuff they're getting in. And like I said as well, check out their big Labor Day sale, which is going on right now, currently. You don't even have to wait till Labor Day. Go to the website, ColemanFurnitureMarket.com. They can deliver to anywhere in the state of Alabama. When you go, let them know Yaffee was the one who sent you. All right, Bugsy. Bugsee. What is number 5 today?
Number 5 today, Yaffee, it is International Lefties Day. So all the people who are left-handed out there, it's your day. You can't use your right hand at all.
Is that you? Are you
no,
lucky?
I'm ambidextrous. Like, I can use both, but not fully.
Ambidextrous.
Yeah, I'm ambidextrous. There's no I in it, Yaffee.
Really?
Yeah, the only thing I don't do with my left hand is, like, eat and write. So I shoot with my left
it was
hand.
ambidextrous.
There's no I. There is no I.
Interesting. I am not left-handed. My mom is.
I would
we don't
think
know
you-
about Evie yet.
I would think you were left-handed, and I bet you $5 Evie will be too.
Well, it's interesting. My mom swears that I should have been left-handed.
You have the left-handed vibe.
Anyway, she said when I was really little, I would use my left hand a lot. But
Did
I
she
kind of...
beat it out of you.
No, it wasn't like that. No, my twin sister was right-handed. So I was just copying her. And I kind of forced myself to be right-handed.
You do hear that a lot of twins are like one's right-handed, one's left-handed.
Yeah,
for whatever
usually
reason.
it's with identical twins. They call it mirror twins.
Yeah, it's interesting.
But obviously we were not identical. So
Are you sure?
people, you would be amazed how many people ask that. Are you guys identical? No, obviously she's a girl and I'm a boy, but sorry. But yeah, I'm not left-handed as of now.
Are you sure you're not identical?
What else today, Bugsy?
There's not much today, but it is also National Filet Mignon Day and National Prosecco Day. So I guess just go to a fancy restaurant and
I was about to
and
say,
eat it with your
yeah,
left hand, though.
Cut it. I mean, who was it? I think it was my mother-in-law would get on me when she would come visit because I was one of those persons. I would cut the meat and then just eat the meat with my left hand instead of. You're supposed to switch the fork to the right hand.
I don't like. Well, actually, I switch it with my left hand, but.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
Yeah. You cut it. You cut it, and then you switch your fork to your right hand. And she was like, "Oh, if you want to be more professional, you got to learn to do that." But then I learned. I know. I don't know. But then I learned that actually that was something created later. So in like Great Britain, they did not switch their hands, and then like Americans started doing that or something. There's a whole video I saw on it. It was very weird.
So you want to do it the British way, Yaffee? Is that what you're saying?
I guess. I'm just lazy. That's all it is. I just didn't.
It's just
there's not much
uncomfortable.
that
You should
much
do it the way that's
thought.
comfortable, that you're not gonna like accidentally fling your food at somebody else. That's how you
Okay.
should do it. But have you
Fair
ever seen
enough.
like the correct way to eat asparagus or whatever according to the British?
No,
It might
I'm
not be
sure
the
there's
British.
a YouTube video on that.
I don't remember who does it, but they eat it with their fingers. Like they just like pick one up and like suck it down. They don't even
Interesting.
chew it.
I'm gonna
Suck it
I'm
down.
gonna look that up. Sounds very important. All right, what's number 4?
Number 4 today. So with Grand Theft Auto 6 coming out later this year, and also, you forget about the other game that's also number 6 that should be coming out this year that was supposed to come out like 2021, 2022, 2024, Elder Scrolls 6. Are you familiar at all with the Elder Scrolls series, Yaffee?
No, I'll have to ask my wife.
I'm sure she is. I'm sure she's familiar. Everybody knows Skyrim. Apparently not you. You don't know Skyrim.
Nope.
Oh my God, Yaffee. Just letting it fall
No idea what we're
flat.
talking
Thank
about.
you. Well, anyways, we haven't had any real updates on the Elder Scrolls 6 in quite a while. It was first revealed in 2018. The release date is currently set to be either 2027 or 2028, so 10 years after the first initial reveal. But we really haven't heard much. We've gotten a couple trailers. We don't even have a real title yet. However, apparently they have a playable demo right now, and they invited Microsoft and Xbox executives to go play it. And people are a little they're speculating because of this, Yaffee, because there is a giant inflatable rat in front of their headquarters right now. No,
Okay.
They have no explanation to this. Some people are claiming that it's actually in protest of recent layoffs, which I don't think that makes sense.
What? Why would that?
I don't know. I think it's
that
to
makes
welcome
no
them.
sense.
They're like, rat. You laid us off. Big rat. That's it.
Is that the layoff mascot is rats?
So.
What is...
I don't get it. Rats do play a big part in the games just because they're like the first enemy that you fight, and there's a ton of them.
Sure.
In all of them. And it looks like the rat in the game, so it makes kind of sense. What if it's going to be like The Elder Scrolls 6, Rat? That's the title of it.
Rat. Rat. Big layoff rat.
Yeah, layoff rat.
All right, what's number 3?
So number 3 today, I got some more Amazon news for you, Yaffee. So Amazon warehouse workers are up in arms now over a recent thank you gift they all received for working Prime Deal days.
Okay.
Any guesses as to what this gift was?
Packing tape.
Honestly, it would be more useful. No, it was have you ever had one of those little thank you bags that they give you with like a tissue for when you have tears? A Tootsie Roll because you're on a roll, stuff like that.
I don't think I've ever got the tissue, but
I've had one with a popsicle stick in it before. I don't remember why.
Really?
Yes.
All right.
And like a single paper clip. Like it's the laziest thing.
Well, what did they get?
So they got a little foil-looking bag that contained a Starburst for being a superstar.
Just one Starburst?
Just one. Tootsie Rolls, multiple. No.
Okay.
For rolling with the punches. A piece of extra brand gum for working extra hard. A lifesaver.
I actually like this. I don't know what the complaint is.
Okay, but if you got this in place of a bonus, Yaffee, what would you do?
This is their bonus?
This was their bonus.
I mean, was there an expectation they were getting a bonus?
I think typically the ones that work Prime Deal days do receive something special. But this is the gift that they got. They also
couldn't
had
at least give them like a full pack of Starburst. You just get the
like
one.
A pack of gum. Like I would appreciate that more, wouldn't you?
Yeah,
A singular piece of gum, a lifesaver mint for being a lifesaver, and a Pixie Sticks, just one, for sticking with them.
I mean, it's creative.
It's sure they found it online and they printed out the little. It's all in Comic Sans, by the way. So is my script that I have.
Comic Sans. Golly, Comic Sans. Why is everything in Comic Sans?
It's easy to read when you're dyslexic, Yaffee. Come on.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yeah.
Oh,
it's made specifically for that. It's made for kids and people who can't read well.
Well, now I feel bad for criticizing
quit being
it.
ableist, Yaffee.
Jeez, sorry. Okay, I'll give you. I have an idea for everyone's Christmas present.
Oh, that is what if we got it from Dale this year for Christmas, and then you also brought us one?
Here's a Starburst because you're a superstar.
That's so bad.
Better than nothing. I guess.
I don't know. I think I'd rather have nothing. I prefer praise to this. Just open praise.
Okay. All right. What's number 2?
Number 2 today, we got a Shake Shack tipping controversy going on here. Yaffee, do you have tip fatigue?
Oh, yeah, totally.
Absolutely, I do too. Except for the fact that I tip when I shouldn't, just because I feel the pressure of society on my shoulders. It really does get you. So recently, a video went viral regarding Salt Lake City airport Shake Shack kiosk, which apparently has a penalty for not tipping. You get charged more if you don't tip.
What?
Yeah, so
really? How does that even work?
In the video, when after the person who was recording this, they selected no tip, it triggered a pricing update alert, which raised the shake prices from $5.99 to $6.49. So
and
could
Shake
I tip
Shack's
like
kind of
1 cent?
Fast food, isn't it?
What's that?
Shake Shack is like
it
fast
is.
food. Yeah.
It is in the airport, so airport food's going to be more expensive, but still.
Yeah. But I mean, like, see, this is the thing, because I do not tip at fast food. I do not. I mean, the only places I tip, I do the massage therapist, I'll tip them. The hairstylist, if you get a haircut, I'll give them a tip. Or if you're at like a sit-down restaurant or, delivery, any kind of, like if you get pizza delivered. Those are the only places I tip. I can't think of anywhere else that I tip.
I do tip at, whenever I'm at a concert, whenever I buy merchandise, I usually tip there. Just because the people who operate that booth generally are getting paid based off of the tips, and like that's the majority of the money that small bands get from actually doing concerts is from their merchandise, It's not from like the concert itself.
Yeah, I knew that.
And
yeah,
so I usually like become like kind of friendly with the people selling the merch. They talk to me for a little bit. They let me like look at stuff up close. I kind of, I hassle them a little on accident. I'm an annoying customer, so I tip them. I tip them because I feel bad. But
all right.
Anyway, Shake Shack responded to this and claimed that it wasn't them, that the airport location was licensed out. So instead...
Yeah.
So it was then investigated by the people who run the actual software for Shake Shack, and they claimed that it was a technical software error or a glitch, and that they resolved it. How is that a glitch?
I have no idea.
That's intentional. That is absolutely intentional.
Someone's hiding something. I wonder if the software company was just like taking extra
they might have been. Honestly.
Embezzling or whatever it is. All right, what's number one?
So number one today, Yaffee, we got more burger news for you. More
Okay,
burger
good.
news. People are dipping their cheeseburgers from McDonald's into their Coke, Yaffee.
Yeah, that's
disgusting.
That sounds communist.
That's just communism right there.
Yeah. Mom
Why do they do this in
does
Russia? They dip their cheeseburgers from McDonald's into their American Coca-Cola.
Is it to make it softer or something? I don't.
For the flavor, I have no idea. I really don't know. I'm kind of intrigued, but not to the point that I want to try it because, like, doesn't the bun get soggy?
Maybe they like soggy buns. I don't.
It's disgusting. So this comes from a video of a food influencer on TikTok. Her name's The Angel Foodie as well. Like, this is like her job, I guess. But she shows herself dipping the burger like 5 times into the Coke. She says she's been doing it.
I know it's the thing where you dip fries into the shake.
I get that. This is going too far.
I don't even like doing the fry thing.
I don't either, but I get it. A little salty, a little sweet. I get it.
Yeah.
Would you dip your burger in your milkshake?
I think I would do that over this.
Yeah,
honestly.
Really, honestly, I would. You know what I actually do? People always think it's kind of weird, and if I'm not the one ordering food at McDonald's, people get annoyed with me because I'm like, ask for a sauce. Tell them we forgot our sauce, okay? Ask for a sauce for me because I like the hot mustard with my cheeseburger and my fries.
Okay, well,
it is so good.
That makes sense.
That makes sense. That's good. That's actually really good, but...
I've dipped like little sliders in ranch. That tastes good.
Do you bring your own ranch to...
No,
places?
I made this at home, but
okay. So you don't do these atrocities in public.
No,
you wouldn't film yourself doing this and post it online.
No, I don't. Maybe I should. I don't.
Maybe we're missing something.
By the way, someone spelled your name. They said it should be spelled Bugzee. Down Bugsy.
Bugsy.
I like it. They also said that Amazon should have gave Amazon gift cards.
I think. Typically, some locations will do something like that.
Yeah, if you're going to do something, because nobody ever spends all their gift cards, and then they end up spending more money, and Amazon makes the money.
Give them an Amazon gift card for like a whole pack of gum, not a single piece.
Thanks, Bugsy. We'll be back in a moment on the Yaffee program.
You're listening to Yaffee on WVNN.
Welcome back to the Yaffee program here on News Talk 770 AM, 92.5 FM, WVNN. I'm Alabama's voice of reason, Huntsville's conservative conscience. Glad you've joined the show. Let me tell you about a place where you can get some really great deals on some brand new appliances. I mean, you already know about it. Jay's Appliance Outlet in Athens off Highway 72. I know you know because many of you have actually texted me or called me and said, I went to Jay's and it was great. And then you thank me for telling you about them. Well, if you haven't heard me mention them yet, I mean, this is the time. Go to Jay's Appliance Outlet. They have a great deal right now on some new smart washers and dryers from Amana, Maytag, or Electrolux, other brands as well. And they get new stuff in all the time. They also have 0% interest financing, flexible monthly payments designed for your budget, delivery options as well, and they can service what they sell. That's actually how they started. Jay started as just someone who serviced appliances, but then he started selling new ones, and he's doing it for great prices. I mean, much better experience than you would get at one of the big box stores. So go today. They're located off 72 in Athens. You can find out more at jaysapplianceoutlet.com or give them a call. Jay might be the one picking up the phone. Sometimes I think he does. Dial pound 250, say the keywords Jay's Appliance Outlet. And when you do, let them know Yaffee was the one who sent you. All right, let's end the show like we usually do. We have the Yaffee program Rewind. that time of the show where I remind you if you missed any of it live, well, the podcast will be up on the website, WVNN.com, or anywhere you get your podcast. Subscribe, share with your friends, all that good stuff. It's good. Good for society. What can I say? Anyway, at the beginning of the show, we were talking about Zohran Mamdani attacking another business. Wants to pass a law to get rid of subcontractors who deliver for Amazon. Now, of course, this bill in New York is being backed by the Teamsters because that's what this is about. They want to unionize more businesses, and this gets in the way of them doing that. Go on and play the Amazon cut for me.
Special delivery. If it looks like an Amazon delivery,
and it drives like an Amazon delivery,
then it's an Amazon delivery.
Amazon is spending millions of dollars to convince you that this isn't an Amazon delivery. But all you have to do is see for yourself.
My uniform says Amazon.
If I don't wear this Amazon branded vest, disciplinary action will be taken against us. The workers' routes and hours are set by Amazon.
so why isn't Amazon responsible for these vans?
Because Amazon and other corporations have built a vast network of subcontractors
That shield them from responsibility. Amazon tells these subcontractors where to drive,
Who to hire and what hours to work.
I do all the work that makes Amazon all the money.
This is why I'm proud to support the Delivery Protection Act, sponsored by Councilmember Tiffany Kalani. Because if Amazon is delivering your package,
there, but there you go. They want to help the unions in New York. That's what this is about. It's like whatever business is successful, they want to go after them in New York. So most of those subcontractors, if this bill passes, will just get fired. That's what's going to happen. But they'll have their government grocery stores to go to, so they'll feel better, I guess. So we talked about that. The podcast of that segment's up. We have the Alabama bullet points, the top stories from around the state. We also spoke with State Representative Ernie Yarbrough, trying to convince me to be very against these flock cameras. I tend to think there's a middle ground here. I hate to get rid of a useful tool like this for law enforcement and officials, but, we need more checks so that it's not abused. But he claims that it's against your Fourth Amendment rights for them to take the data at all. That in order to take the data to begin with, you should have to have a warrant to do that. So we talked about that. Maybe he can convince you to be against them. Not sure he convinced me, but the podcast of that segment is up. The most compelling argument there, by the way, is that, they abused a lot of their power during COVID. So this is something they could use to abuse their power in the next pandemic. So that's probably the best argument I've heard so far. So we had that. We also had the propaganda press and the Democrat Party once again working overtime to get you to hate ICE. And a lot of this goes back to the fact that they don't believe illegal immigrants should be treated as criminals. That's it. You have conservatives like us who say, look, if you're an illegal immigrant, you can always be detained and deported. That's always a possibility. We have immigration laws. But anytime you mention that, Democrats say, no, that's inhumane. So we talked about that. The podcast is up. We had something that made Yaffee laughy. I played some cuts of Marco Rubio, which were pretty funny. He's a pretty funny guy, actually. So if you missed that, the podcast is up. We had What's Trending with Bugsy, of course. We do that every day, either with Bugsy or Walker. Thanks to Bugsy for producing today. Thanks to you for listening. The Vince Show is coming up next, and I'll be back tomorrow at the same time. See you then.
The Yaffee Program.
Mic Drop, hosted by former Navy SEAL Mike Ridlin.
How would you characterize your prowess?
I'd say my style is that I just kind of outwork everybody till I get there.
Because I'm not a quitter. It's just you. And that's yourself. Whereas everything else is team-oriented.
The motivation, it was a sort of anger at myself for being weak. That ends up being the driving factor. That anger, that pride, that ego, I think it's a muscle. It gets stronger. When you take that voice seriously, you start to change your life.
Mic Drop. Follow and listen on your favorite platform.